Number 3 on the hit parade, Lisa Doherty.
Well, my story is entitled 32B or Not to Be. And that has been my size since I was first fitted many years ago at a little dressing room. And it still is. Anyway, I'm a proud, lifelong member of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. But that wasn't always the case. Back when I was in my 30s, I was living in Chicago on the 27th floor of a 40-store high-rise called the Eugenie Terrace Luxury Apartments, complete with a rooftop pool and gymnasium, and most of all, a doorman, which is every girl's best friend, every single girl's best friend, I should say. Our doorman was named Ricky, and he was, I think he moonlighted as a bouncer. He was a big, big guy, and a great source of information and so forth. Sorry. Thank you, yeah. So anyway, Ricky was one of these doormen that when I had a date come to visit, he's assessed them pretty quickly, and he would call upstairs, and if he liked the looks of the guy and he seemed respectful, he would call up and say, "Lisa, Joe Schmo is here, hurry down." And if he didn't like the looks of the guy, he would just tell me to take my time, take all the time in the world. And I would say, "Ricky, should I be sick?" And he'd say, no, just, he's cool in his heels, take your time. So anyway, when I noticed a really handsome young man in my building who happened to be a resident, I asked Ricky about him. And he told me that the guy was single. His name was Brian. He went to Stanford Law School. He was about 42 and divorced. Sounded good. So the next time I saw Brian, who I happened to see throughout the building, almost serendipitously, I asked him out for coffee. Well, in the course of dating Brian, we went for coffee and then to dinner and then for some other dates. And, I was kind of falling for this guy. I also learned a couple things about him. He hated smoking. I was a smoker at the time. And he loved boobs. In fact, he even suggested that perhaps I consider, an operation. Well, that was out of the question, as were cutlets, like, that you tuck in your bra, ladies, right? So anyway, I kind of had the smoking thing covered. I was taking Zyban, which was a rebranded version of Wellbutrin, which is a very popular antidepressant. So I was taking it to not much success. I was actually a very happy smoker while I was taking it. As for the other problem, I actually was going to a health food store, and I happened to see on a high shelf a flamenco dancer, Spanish flamenco dancer in a red dress, and a great big bottle of herbs, and the name Bustin' Out. And this was my solution. I thought, I'll try this, right? And so I bought the bottle, $30, which at the time this a few years ago was a lot of money at the time. So I took it home. The next day was Christmas Eve. And I took my Zyban, as I usually did, and then I took the Bustin' Out. Well, not long after, my legs got shaky. I was feeling really dizzy. I almost felt like I was going to faint. So I took my phone, and I went to lay down in bed, and I thought, if I don't feel better in a few minutes, I'm going to call 911. And I did. Well, moments later, there's about 6 firemen around my bed. And I'm thinking, I should have gussied up for this. And then I read the name tags, and it's Callahan, Flanagan, Fitzgibbons, Cassane, Kavanaugh. And I thought, have I died and gone to heaven? So anyway, and I also thought to myself, in this room full of these firemen, where else would you find a group of men in one room that are physically fit, psychologically evaluated, cooking and cleaning is part of their job, And they're brave enough to race into a burning building and rescue you, right? I should have pulled the fire alarm a long time ago. Anyway, they took my, my heart rate and my pulse and did all the usual vitals that EMTs do. And then they asked me that dreaded question, what did you take? So I said, well, I've been taking Zyban for smoking cessation and an herb, I knew like an herbal supplement. Oh, do you have the bottles? Well, so one of them, I said, well, yes, I do. And so one of them went to the kitchen. I said, it's on the cabinet to the right of the refrigerator. And he came back to the bedroom and he held up one bottle of the Zyban and then the other one of the busting out. And there was kind of no question what it was for. And I know they were ready to bust out laughing, but they stifled it. And one of them said to the other, hey, Joe, you know what? Herbs, this is what the athletes die from, taking the herbs. And the other fireman said, that's not very, very consoling to her, like, So they determined that they would take me to Northwestern Hospital, which they did, and on Christmas Eve of all days. So I sat there and waited. I think they were waiting for it to wear off. And all day long, Northwestern is an excellent hospital, but it's also a teaching hospital. So a lot of residents streamed in. And I had to tell my story many, many times with the two bottles in front of me, which was humiliating. Anyway, my parents finally came down. They were obviously very busy on Christmas Eve, but they kind of finally came to the hospital. And my mother, as mothers do, hugged me and kissed my forehead and stroked my hair and told me everything would be okay. My father, on the other hand, said, Lisa, you are a college graduate. You are a professional. I can't believe you would fall for this, taking an herb like that. And he said, don't tell anybody about this. So anyway, not the first time I didn't listen to my dad. I did recount the story to the clerk at the health food store when I went to return the bottle of Bustin' Out. And then I told Ricky, my doorman, who was obviously concerned about me, and he felt badly. And he said, Lisa, you've got to just be who you were meant to be, as you are. And any guy that doesn't accept that, is a shame on him. So really the moral is the only big boob in the story was Brian.
You know that there's some practical joke gifts that will be coming your way over the next few months, I think. Just thinking out loud here, that's all. Anyway, thank you, Lisa. Lisa is a first-time storyteller here on STM, at STM. Yay! She says she is descended from a long line of Irish raconteurs. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I know that, but Irish storytellers, so I don't know whether that means they're truth tellers or just, okay. Anyways, she is a public relations executive, and she actually helps clients craft their stories and was very excited to tell hers tonight. Lisa also performs here in town with both the Prescott Improv Collective and the Prescott Mystery Company that performs here. If you've never been to one of their murder mysteries, Liz, when's the next murder mystery? July 19th, next murder mystery. And For Better, For Worse, For Murder? Yes, the title of that one. So tickets on sale at the Elks website. Anyways, back to Lisa. And she also co-hosts a LOL Club improv workshop on Saturdays. Okay, busy girl. Thank you.